Hey guys, and we continue on with our NHL offseason preview shows. Today I'm going to be talking all about the Seattle Kraken, taking a look at their offseason, of course, draft picks and management, free agents, forwards, defensemen, goaltending, and then my offseason tasks for the Kraken at the end of the show. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel, growing every day. Love to see it. And make sure to check out any of the other NHL offseason preview shows that I've done. We're getting close to the end. Not too many teams left to talk about, which we will do there in the next week or so. So we're going to jump right into it here and start with draft picks and management for the Kraken. And when it comes to draft picks, the Kraken have most of their picks. They don't have their third or sixth round pick. Otherwise, they have the rest of their picks. They do have a second from Toronto and a fourth from Dallas as a couple extra picks in this year's draft. Jason Botterill, general manager, and Lane Lambert, the new hire of head coach for the Kraken. And when I look at Botterill and Lambert, I don't know if that's the right combination to lead this Kraken team into the future. Lane Lambert with the Islanders, of course, he only had one opportunity as a head coach with the Islanders. Obviously, it didn't go well. This Kraken team, much different than the Islanders, of course, but this is his opportunity here with his second team to really improve the coaching that he did with the Islanders. Jason Botterill, former general manager of the Buffalo Sabres. That pretty much says all that you need to know right there. So I'm skeptical of the general manager and head coach being the right duo to lead this Kraken team into the promised land, but that's just my opinions. And Seattle Kraken fans watching, you may have a different opinion, and that's totally fine and great. Leave your comments in the video of what you think about the general manager and head coach. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think they're going to do a very good job for this Kraken team? Or leave your comments and thoughts in the comments below. But offer sheet capability, the Kraken have full offer sheet capability. So if they want to go and present a player with an offer sheet, they are able to do that for any dollar amount that they wish. Taking a look at the free agents and a much smaller list than some other teams. Stay tuned for the next video for the next team. Which we actually has the most free agents of any team so far this year. So much different than the Seattle Kraken team, but we'll be talking about that team later on tonight. Looking at the cap space for the Kraken, almost $20 million in cap space. So doing pretty well there in that department. Looking at the RFAs they've got to sign, Kaapo Kakko, Ty Carde, and Riker Evans. And then Michael Eyssimont is a UFA for the Kraken. I think Eyssimont most likely goes on to another team. And then for the Kraken, it's the same kind of deal with most other teams. Sign your RFAs or trade them. I don't expect any issue with the Ty Carde or Riker Evans in re-signing. I don't think there should be any trouble getting them signed to maybe a couple years, 2 to 3 years. Maybe the Kraken want to go long term. They could do that as well. Kaapo Kakko is going to be the more expensive signing here, and we'll just have to see how that goes. That's going to be a task for Jason Botterill to get accomplished, is to sign a Kaapo Kakko and sign him to a deal that is fair but isn't an overpayment, so that he can afford to improve the team in other areas. We'll take a look at the forward depth group for the Seattle Kraken team. And if you guys watched my season preview show that I did last year for this Kraken team, I gave one of my futures for this team was the Kraken to make the playoffs. Plus money, of course, they didn't. They had a unexpectedly rough season with the players that they have. This Kraken team should have done a whole lot better last year. They were kind of a pretty big disappointment in my mind, and there were quite a few players that underperformed. And then there were a couple bright spots, and the main one really being Shane Wright, who took that step forward last season. 79 games played, 19 goals, 25 assists, 44 points. I think he's going to improve on that this year. And looking at the projections lineups here, first thing I would be doing would be putting Shane Wright on the second line. I would have Jared McCann, Shane Wright, and Jordan Eberle together. I think that would be a good combination. Then I have Tolvanen with Stevenson and Burakovsky on that third line. And then obviously the Kraken has some guys there on the fourth line. And Yanni Hyman could potentially be a player that moves up. He played in only 12 games for the Kraken last year, but 6 points in 12 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. So he could be a player to watch maybe for the Kraken here. Ryan Winterton, another young forward. So the Kraken have some younger forwards that can jump into the lineup if they need, with obviously injuries and that kind of deal. But looking at this Kraken forward group, they don't have any big stars. Like they don't have any star names like Draisaitl or Kaprizov or Rantanen. They don't have a guy like that, but they have a lot of depth. And it didn't really work out for the Kraken last year. And I think there's a lot of guys on this screen here who underperformed last year. And if the young guys take that next step forward, I'm looking at Beniers and Wright, especially, and Kako, and you get normal seasons from the other veterans on this forward group, then it's a pretty good forward group. It's a pretty decent forward group. Maybe you want to make an addition if you got the cap space, but I like this forward group, and I liked it last year as well, and it didn't really work out. So maybe the Kraken make some trades. I think instead of maybe going the free agency route, I would maybe look at making a trade or two just to kind of retool the lineup and kind of fix some areas. Maybe move an older guy out to a different team and kind of retool this forward group a little bit. But if they stick with this forward group going into the regular season, I don't think there's any issues with it. If you get your RFAs signed and you go into the regular season with this forward group, I think it's okay. But looking at free agents, of course, everyone wants Nikolai Ehlers, but he would be a good addition for this Kraken team. The other guys in this screen, Jonathan Drouin could be interesting. Could be an interesting addition. But the Kraken have depth. They just don't have those star players. And unfortunately, the guys here are some of these guys were stars and maybe still are, but are getting to the older ages. So you're looking at Duchesne and Tavares right off the bat. I think the Kraken are pretty set when it comes to centers overall. Now, when injury happens, then you need a guy. So they could potentially look to sign someone. The only issue is you have Beniers and you have Shane Wright, and then you've got Chandler Stevenson. So there's your top three centers. I don't really think you need to add a guy on this list. If anything, that would move one of your centers to the wing. But we could see we could see the Kraken add. I think they do need to just standing pat with a very similar roster from last year. I don't know if that's the right way to go either. When it comes to guys on this list, I don't really see maybe the Kraken add a guy like Dadonov or Riley Smith, but I don't see Mitch Marner happening. I think there's quite a few other teams that I think will be able to offer him more. If the Kraken are signing Mitch Marner, it might make it tricky to re-sign their other 3 RFAs and would put them right at the cap limit. But Mitch Marner would be a fantastic addition to this Kraken team because he would be that star that they're missing, that star player. And with the depth around him, Mitch Marner would be a great addition for the Seattle Kraken. As I said earlier, full offer sheet capability for Seattle. However, I'm not sure that it really makes any sense to offer sheet a player. You'd be giving up, obviously, a lot of your draft picks if the offer sheet goes through, but also you would be burning some bridges with some other teams, but as well, it would limit your cap space that you have to sign other guys. So I think it'd probably be better to go through the trade route if the Kraken, as I said, wanted to make a couple trades to kind of retool the lineup for this season. There are definitely guys in this list that are available, and maybe a trade gets done. So we'll have to keep our eye on the Kraken. Taking a look at defensemen, Vince Dunn and Adam Larson, Riker Evans, Brandon Montour, Jamie Oleksiak, and Cale Fleury, with Josh Mahura as an extra. And like the forward group, I like the Kraken defense group as well. I love that top 4 overall. Jamie Oleksiak, I think, is a good third pairing guy. Cale Fleury might be, I don't want to say the weak link, but if the Kraken were going to make an improvement at defense, I think it would most likely come in that bottom pair. So I do think that it would be smart for the Kraken to improve the defense by adding another defenseman to play either on the second pair or the third pair when needed. Most likely third pair, but when needed, able to play on the second pair as well, just to bolster this defense. When I don't necessarily think the defense is an issue for the Kraken, but goaltending is. And if you can't go and really improve the goaltending, now you might be able to, but if you can't, then you need to help the goaltenders out by improving the defense a little bit more. Because goaltending was obviously an issue for the Kraken last year, which we'll get to here in a few moments. Looking at UFA defensemen, Dante Fabro, Ryan Lindgren would be the 2 guys here for the Kraken. I think that would be great additions. You would really bolster that, the defense, physicality, shot blocking. I really think those 2 guys would be great additions. Other guys on this list, I don't know about any other guys in this list. Maybe they go after a guy like Tony DeAngelo or Nate Schmidt, but I think option 1 is Dante Fabro. Option 2, I think, is Ryan Lindgren for this Kraken defense. Taking a look at the goaltenders, Joey Decord took over the starting position last year. Philip Grubauer getting the backup position. Grubauer went 8-17-1 with a 3.49 goals against average and an 875 save percentage. And a 3.49 goals against average and 875 save percentage is not good enough. It's not. That's not numbers that a playoff team would have. So I do think Grubauer is the weak link here. I think the Kraken should look to try to move on from him if possible, try to upgrade that backup position. Joey Decord on the other side, 27, 23, and 5 2.75 goals against average, 906 save percentage. I still think there's more there. I think that's a down year for Decord. I do think he could improve on that this year. So I don't see any issues with Joey Decord, but Philip Grubauer is the weak link. And last year, obviously, when he was in net, he didn't want to back the Kraken when Grubauer was in net. Even with the defense playing well, he lets in easy goals. So Grubauer, I think, is the weak link. I like Joey Decord when it comes to the goaltending. Now, looking at UFA goaltenders available, who would be a better fit than Philip Grubauer? And, well, that's kind of a difficult question. I would look at Dan Vladar, Anton Forsberg. I think either of those guys would be an upgrade over Grubauer. Now, the issue is getting rid of Grubauer. That might be an issue. But there are teams looking to get to the cap floor, and maybe there's a deal that the Kraken could make. But looking at the RFA goaltenders, you do have Joey Decord, but a Lucas Dostal, Joey Decord tandem would be really nice in Seattle. Of course, getting Dostal away from Anaheim is not going to be easy. They probably would likely match any offer sheet you made anyways, but I think with Joey Decord, I like him as the starter. I think he is the right guy for that position at this time. So I don't necessarily know about getting an RFA goaltender. I think more likely if they move on from Grubauer, they're going to be looking at a guy like Anton Forsberg or Alex Lyon or Dan Vladar, maybe David Riddick. I don't know. I think the Kraken, if they want to improve this roster, I think the main spot that needs improving is that backup goaltender position. However, a lot of these UFA goaltenders have not really shown that they're that much better than Grubauer. Goaltending is a weird position where some guys have good years and then all of a sudden things change from year to year. So goaltending, I do think, is an area that the Kraken need to improve on. My offseason tasks for the Seattle Kraken. 1, resign the RFAs. Obviously, Kako, Evans, and Ty Cartier. Resign all 3. Keep your young players in the organization. And look to add a bottom pair defenseman. Maybe one of those guys that I mentioned, Fabro or Lindgren, would be huge additions to that Kraken defense. You've got your offensive guys, and then you've got your defensive guys on that defense. So I would look to add a bottom pair defenseman if possible, and then look to improve the goaltending, whether that's by signing by buyout of Grubauer or trade or some kind of situation. You just need to improve that goaltending, and the best way to improve it is to get rid of Philip Grubauer, in my opinion. But that is the Seattle Kraken off-season preview show. If you're a Seattle Kraken fan, make sure to leave your comments on the bottom of the video, letting me know what you think the Kraken need to do this off-season. Do you agree with me about the goaltending position? The defense, the forward group, I really like them. I really do. I think there's a lot of talent there. They might just need that star player. But in order to get him, signing a guy like Mitch Marner, it's going to cost cap space that the Kraken might not necessarily have. So they do have it, but I would make signing other guys difficult. So what is the Kraken going to do this offseason? I'm going to be keeping my eye on them. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you again for other NHL offseason preview shows. Thanks for watching, guys.